Hey guys, Luke here. I'm working in DC this week, but I had a free day today, so I decided to go check out some solar canopies around the area. I'm not super familiar with solar yet, so I'm interested in learning, and I figured what better way than to go check out some projects that are already built. So I'm just looking at the general construction and how they're mounting inverters, panel boards, disconnect switches, how they're running wires, and grounding. So I figured I'd share with you guys what I saw out there today. Washington, DC. Children's Hospital National Research and Innovation Campus, which is, I think, the largest solar canopy in the area. It's over a parking garage. There are 47 rows of panels, and there's 52 panels in each row. I'm not sure on the size, but each panel has a little module box on it, which runs into like a little tray on the edge of the panel. So you have long runs of cable tray on each side. So there's another, well, what do we got? At least 3 of them, one on each side, one down the middle. And then they come into the tray at the end. And we have a inverter bank sitting in this corner of the parking garage, and another one over in the opposite corner. And then I think you have a set of conduits that run between the two, which is maybe for switching. So these smaller conduits here all come down and go into the inverters. But then you also have this other set of conduits that runs up here and the whole way across to the other set of inverters. Okay, I'm at this solar canopy. It's near this Glorious Health Club. At this one, you have cement foundation columns that go up to a support structure. And it supports through some smaller beams. Each, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 individual canopies. Each one has 5 panels going across, and then 24 down the full length. So 120 panels per canopy. And then they have little modules. The wires are run along little trays on the sides of the panels, and eventually they come into a conduit where they come down to these units, DPS. There's kind of a there's AC disconnect on this side, and then you got the DC disconnect on this side, so I guess it is definitely a inverter. Then you have them all coming over here to the other equipment. So you got 2 more of the inverters over here, and here's one. So off of the inverter, so it's coming down from this panel, and then it runs over here to this 3-phase 480 volt AC panel, and then out of there into a large disconnect switch and over to this transformer. Out of the transformer, it runs over to another disconnect switch, which looks like it might feed directly into a building, possibly. I'm not 100% sure where that's going yet. So for grounding, up at the top of this conduit, you have a green wire coming out there, and it clamps on to one of the beams, and it runs. It looks like it goes inside and comes down and goes into the inverter, supposedly. But then also behind the inverter on the structure here, you have a clamp. Bare wire just runs down into the ground. So to clarify, it has grounding, the beam clamp style at each column in the center here with an inverter. So, and even this one without an inverter still has this beam clamp on this center row. So I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 beam clamp style grounds. But these ones over on the other side, on the outer side, don't have any grounding over there. And then it looks like the ones on the other side don't have any grounding. So it's just this center run of columns where the wires come down to the inverters. And I thought this looked cool. It's a little Canopy car charging station. You got 12 panels, little modules, and runs down to the car chargers. Got a metal pad at the bottom, and I guess this thing can adjust the tilt. If it has any transformers or panel boards or anything, or inverters, I guess, it would be up inside of here. Although it's just probably charging DC batteries, so there might not be inverters. But maybe it has to have some electronics to change the voltage level. There's a little port there that says emergency power, 120, 240 AC, renewable generator. Cool little thing. Okay, I'm at this KIPP College Preparatory solar canopy, and there's 2 canopies essentially. I would say each one has about 260 panels. So they're supported up on the beams. Again, modules running along the sides of the panels. They come over to columns, and up on the columns you have inverters and disconnect switch up there. Not really accessible to switch from the ground. And yeah, same thing on the other side. And then right here, you know, they come down. All these conduits are coming down from up there, running over to this little sub. And so it looks like they're all running down into this bottom compartment first, and then it's kind of hard to tell where they go, but we got probably a AC panel. Kind of looks like another AC panel, and then some monitoring, a small transformer, and that's about it. We also have, looks like a battery monitor. So for grounding at this KIPP College Preparatory, right here, you can see there's a ground coming out of the conduit, kind of loops around and then clamps onto the beam right there. And then also, I think there's another ground wire that's back up in there. I'm not sure where it's going to, but the one that's clamping on the beam there just loops around and comes down the conduit here, I think. But I don't really see any other grounding, even on this main sub. There's no rod, and none of the other columns seem to have any grounding. There's no grounding throughout the canopy. It's just on each column where there's an inverter. You got maybe one beam clamp ground, and also one ground running into the box with the wiring, it looks like. All right, so I'm in an apartment complex, and a lot of the buildings around here have solar on like 9 of the buildings surrounding this. But there's a little canopy area as well. You got the cement foundation support columns with beams, and just a small canopy. There's a ground on the first and the last column going from the beam down through a conduit into the ground, but just on the first and the last. And then actually talking to the property manager, he was sitting in one of his cars here, and he said that all of the equipment is in the basement. So you can see this conduit over there is probably where it goes in from this conduit. Essentially, this is just all the panels running into the basement. No panel boards or inverters outside. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed getting a look at some of these basic canopy designs. That's all I got for you. Thanks for watching.